Loma Linda, celebrating our 25th anniversary. Sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932. Protecting the future of working families, Teamsters1932.org.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. Hunter Biden is looking at a maximum sentence of 25 years in prison after being convicted in his federal gun case on Tuesday. The Delaware judge in the case has not set a sentencing date yet. Legal experts say it's unlikely the president's son will receive anywhere near the maximum sentence. Hunter is likely to appeal his conviction after his defense attorney said in a statement they will continue to vigorously pursue all the legal challenges available. The Federal Reserve is leaving interest rates unchanged and predicts it will cut borrowing costs just once before the end of the year. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell told reporters today inflation has eased substantially, but it's still too high. Brian Chung reports.
Earlier in the year, in March, they were projecting the possibility of multiple interest rate cuts by the end of the year. Now you have markets pricing in the odds that maybe that first interest rate cut will happen in September.
The benchmark rate is in a range of 5.25% to 5.5%. Severe weather is expected to hit millions across the Midwest today. Cities like Minneapolis, Chicago, and Kansas City could see large hail and damaging wind gusts. Meanwhile, nearly a month's worth of rain fell on South Florida yesterday. 1 to 2 inches is expected further north from Jacksonville to St. Augustine today and tomorrow. Severe weather is causing headaches at airports across the country. Hundreds of flights are facing setbacks as bad weather continues to hit Florida. As of early this afternoon, there have been over 3,000 flights delayed within, into, or out of the United States, according to FlightAware. In Florida, there's been more than 300 delays and over 160 cancellations at Miami International Airport as of 2 p.m. local time. Passengers are urged to check with their airline before heading to the airport. Heavy rain is expected to continue for communities in the central, southwestern, and southern portions of Florida. One person is dead after a bus hijacking out of downtown Atlanta Tuesday. Police say a gunman hijacked a bus with 17 people on it and held a gun to the driver's head. Officers found an adult victim dead from a gunshot wound inside the bus.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Spear, a licensed agent with Litchfield Insurance Associates here in Beaumont. A large portion of Americans don't have life insurance or don't have enough. Whether you need a temporary policy, something to help with income during retirement, or making sure your final expenses are taken care of, having life insurance is an act of love and security for your whole family. Having a local trusted agent makes navigating through the sometimes complex world of life insurance so much easier. And I would love to be the one to help you. I'm Kaylee Spear. For your free consultation, people are calling 951-769-0005. 951-769-0005.
Are you graduating high school soon and wondering
Hi,
what
I'm
to do
Kaylee
next?
Spear, a licensed
College is
agent
one
with
option,
Litchfield Insurance
but
Associates
why not
here in
consider
Beaumont?
the
A large
high-paying
portion of
jobs made
Americans
possible
don't
by
have
Union Power? Labor Union Teamsters Local 1932 is open to training center to get you into the high school to high-paying job pipeline. You'll learn all the skills needed to excel in opportunities across industries. Visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org.
Plant Galaxy Dispensary reminds everyone during these challenging times the importance of mental health, with a focus on wellness and offering daily deals on everything from top quality flowers to edibles and so much more. Plant Galaxy's goal is to help you win the battle within. As one of Riverside's most beautiful wellness shops on Center Street, visit plantgalaxy.net. That's plantgalaxy.net or call 951-900-50.
One of the best ways to build a healthier local economy is by shopping locally. Teamster Advantage is a shop local program started by Teamster Local 1932 that has brought together hundreds of locally owned businesses to provide discounts for residents who make shopping locally their priority. Everything from restaurants like Corky's to fun times at SB Raceway and much, much more. If you're not currently a Teamster and you want access to these local business discounts, contact Jennifer at 909-889-8377, extension 224. Give her a call. That number again is 909-889-8377, extension 224. One of the best ways to build a healthier local economy is by shopping
Ronald Reagan's
locally.
Strategic Defense Initiative, known to some as Star Wars. Transcend the Star Wars movie phenomenon as science fiction becomes reality in a must-see exhibition. Come face to face with SDI's space-based missile technology, which transformed our national security, alongside Darth Vader's helmet, Princess Leia's dress, and more original items from the Star Wars franchise. Defending America and the galaxy. Star Wars and SDI. Exhibition now at the Reagan Library.
Welcome to the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, a brand new show about labor and worker issues. The host of the show is Randy Corrigan, Secretary, Treasurer, and Principal Office and leader of Teamsters 1932, one of the largest public sector labor unions on the West Coast, representing workers in government and non-sworn law enforcement personnel. Randy Corrigan is a 30-year Teamster who first became involved in the labor movement by volunteering his time as an organizer with the Teamsters Union at the age of 21. Since then, he's helped thousands organize, mobilize, and achieve bargaining rights. He accomplished this by spending countless hours with brave men and women all over Southern California, in their living rooms, on the picket line, to bring workers towards victory. This is the Worker Power Hour. And now here's the host of the show, Randy Corrigan.
Good afternoon, everybody. Randy Corrigan with the Worker Power Hour. Rick, am I live? I'm not hearing myself in the... All right. See, I'm a longtime organizer, first-time radio host, so I get to make these little mistakes out the gate. Isn't that right, Katie? I got Katie in here, and I got some others on the back half of the hour. You actually heard from them. They're nurses at children's nurses at Rady's Children's Hospital down in the San Diego area. We'll have them on the back half of the hour, and you know, I get a little bit of grace because I'm a rookie at this. So. I would like to actually start off the show by reporting some news, doing something a little bit different than we normally do because of the KCA family is, deeply saddened by the tragic loss of Alan Borgen and Izzy Boozy, and that terrible highway accident that happened in Missouri this past weekend. I think it's important for us to reflect on these times and recognize the contribution that people have made over their entire life. And they've made a huge impact here in the Inland Empire. And Alan was a friend to everyone here at the station as well as within the entire IE. And Izzy was right alongside him for all those years. And we really appreciate all the things that they've done. Izzy was his co-host in life and on the air and added just the right flavor, perfect seasoning to Alan for their perfect blend. We've heard a lot of their voices on the air. For those of you that may not have heard them, please just spend a couple minutes reflecting. I think in death, anytime, we sometimes don't spend enough time reflecting on the great contribution that people make, and life forces us to just kind of move on fast. And I think it's important for us to, spend a few minutes here just recognizing the contribution that they made. He wrote restaurant reviews in The Sun, Inland Valley Daily Bulletin, Redlands Daily Facts, and the Inland Empire Business Journal, as well as KVCR, KSPA, KTIE, KCAA, all on social media. The amount of work that they did is much appreciated, and this is a good time for you to always appreciate who's around you because tragic things happen. And sometimes we have no idea if we're going to be here tomorrow. So, Alan and Izzy, thank you for all that you did. Really appreciate your friendship and relationship here at the station, and everybody is going to miss you. And we'll let you know when services are held for them. With that, definitely let's do a real quick recap on last week's show. We had Councilwoman Leslie, and I'm not going to even try to pronounce her last name, from Jurupa Valley. It's Altamirano, something like that. She said everybody butchers it, so I'm good. And then we had Mayor Silva on as well, and so we appreciate the two of them coming on. Had a great conversation around community benefit agreements. Had a great conversation about workers and worker rights and what's important for workers in the region and how they could support it from the council level. And us having council members on, especially the newest city in Southern California, to be in here and to be so pro-labor. We really appreciate that, and I think that the community is going to appreciate it in the long run because that attitude towards developing policy at a city is refreshing and it's much needed, and it's really important for workers to be considered anytime development comes to town, and not just paying attention to what developments are coming in, but also making sure small businesses are part of that narrative, and they get a hand up as well, because sometimes these big corporate America giants and these big corporate giants, they just walk all over small businesses. And with that led to Peak Performance being here last week. Ryan did a great job of being late. If he's listening again, I want to razz him a little, because he's really loves his punctuality, and for him to be late, he was really down on himself. But hey, we get it. It's live radio. We rolled with it, and he did a really good job of talking about his small business and the work that they're doing in the area. And so we appreciate all those guests from the last show. We're going to do some quick shout outs for those that are listening live right now. Steward Kirk Garrison, criminalist at the Crime Lab at San Bernardino County. Nicole Mild and the City of Colton, mid-managers. Hopefully you're all sitting in a room listening together, and seeing that your mid-managers listening, that you're allowing all the employees to do it too, Nicole. I know you out there, Nicole. And then also the Sheriff's Crime Lab is listening in. I think that they've actually got us piped in to where everybody can hear us. And then the members at the City of Chino are listening in live. So thanks for getting those shout-outs to me. I really appreciate all of you listening live, and we got more and more every week that are coming in. So that leads us to the next part of the show, which is our Think a Teamster, the 3 Teamster jobs. It's really important for us to recognize that we represent everything from A to Z, airline pilots to zookeepers. And this one's a new one to me. I just 2 of them aren't new, but one of them is. And Pepto-Bismol, the production facility at Pepto-Bismol. So next time you see that wonky commercial and you hear, you see the lady dancing around, that needs Pepto-Bismol, Teamsters make sure that you have Pepto-Bismol, and then they're based out of Oregon. The next one I knew about out of Seattle is Pampers that are produced. Teamsters produce Pampers. I can think of a whole bunch of jokes right now that aren't appropriate for live. So I'll save those for another day when I figure out how to clean them up. But shout out to the members in Seattle, the Teamsters in Seattle, that make sure all of our kids have Pampers. And then the last one is Tropicana Orange Juice in Florida, the production facility we represent. Teamsters represents the production facility. So next time you're getting some Pepto because you ate too much orange juice, and maybe you need your Pampers, nice little tie of all those together. I guess I'm the only one laughing in here. It's Teamsters all the way around. Rick was laughing at me. So, shout out to those Teamsters in those production facilities and those operations, distribution, and logistics, and make sure we get that product to the stores and get it to the retail outlets. And our Think a Teamster program is in full effect. We have it on buses and billboards all over the IE. I actually, almost every single day, I talk to somebody who lives in LA, and I don't talk to them very often because the things we work on together, it's only about once or twice a month. And, first thing he talked about is, oh, Randy, I saw the billboard the other day. And I think our members really like, first, being recognized for the work that they're doing, and then second, it's just really important to remind the general public how important Teamsters are to our community and our society. And on the back half of our hour, we're going to have some nurses back on again, some children's hospital nurses, which, if any job in the world is probably one of the most important to make sure that our kids who are in need are taken care of, and those are Teamsters as well. And so with that, it takes us on to the news, the current news. The first thing that's happening is here in Southern California is Food for Less workers took a vote on strike action if the deal is not reached here soon. And so 6,000 grocery store workers at Food for Less have set a vote to go on strike. For those of you who don't know, a lot of the Food for Less contract, those workers were organized after like the grocery contracts were, and so it's a slightly different agreement, and there's just too much disparity between those workers at Food for Less and the workers, let's say, at a Stater Brothers or a Ralph's. And Kroger owns Food for Less, so there's really not a lot of reason to have that big of a disparity between a Food for Less worker and, let's say, a Ralph's grocery store, or any one of those other 1,000 stores that Kroger owns. And so the contract with the United Food and Commercial Workers expired on Saturday, and members are voting on whether to authorize a strike if a new deal is not reached. That's going out today. And so, many of you may remember the 2003-2004 strike for the grocery store workers. Just as a side note, actually got arrested 4 times during that labor dispute. All the charges ended up getting dismissed. I was just having a good time on a picket line, and I'm sad that they tried to hold it against me. Actually, 2 of them I didn't do anything wrong. I can't say about the other 2. I think it's borderline arguable, but I definitely didn't do anything wrong the first 2 times I got arrested. So anyway, that's another show. That's another subject for another day. None of us forget all those grocery store members going out on strike in 2003 and 2004. They were out for 5.5 months, and they did a really good job of sticking together. And it's been, trying to make sure that those workers have a living wage. They do a very important job within the community. And quite frankly, most of these grocery stores now are owned by these huge national conglomerates. They can afford to pay. They can afford to make sure people are in the working class and the middle class. And a 2022 survey of Kroger grocery workers by the Economic Roundtable found that 14% of Kroger workers have or were experiencing homelessness, and nearly 2/3 reported not making enough money to cover basic expenses every month. Kroger, it's time for you to get off your rear end and actually, step up to the plate and make sure these workers are taken care of. You can't be lagging behind anymore. So we'll be watching this closely. I do not want to go to jail in this next strike, so could you please hurry up and get it resolved? But I do love getting out on a picket line, and any of you that have been on a picket line with me, I love to have fun on a picket line if it's not one I'm in charge of. If I'm in charge of it, it's totally different. I tell everybody, you got to stay calm. You can't do this. You can't do that. I'm joking. For those of you that can't hear, there are people laughing in the studio right now because that's absolutely a true story. And so, let's pay attention to that in the news. We'll report back to you if we hear anything soon. So, the next item was a pretty big issue that circulated a few years ago around AB 5. And the court says California regulation on Uber drivers is justified, and a California law classifying Uber and other ride haul and delivery drivers as employees rather than independent contractors is constitutional. And so for those of you who don't know, California, we encouraged the legislature to pass a law in addition to there was various propositions on the ballot to kind of deauthorize AB 5. And I'll tell you, this is a very highly contested area, and it's not right that these huge corporations are getting away with calling everybody an independent contractor and subcontracting it out and not having any accountability. And so it's good that the court has upheld these workers' rights, and they're deemed as employees, and it gives them the right to bargain. It gives them the right to certain benefits, and it gives them the ability to not be unfairly classified as independent contractors, as they shouldn't be. And so this case gives legislators greater certainty that AB 5 type legislation will survive constitutional challenges, and it really puts them on firmer ground. Ryan Wu, an attorney for Capstone Law, was quoted as saying. So the decision was by the 11-judge Ninth Circuit panel. And so it undoes one made last year by the 3-judge panel of the same court. And so, as you guys all know, sometimes these things go through the court system, and one set of judges overturns, the next set reinstates, and sometimes you got to flush all these things out and get them through the system. And hopefully, in the end, when this all shakes out, these workers will not be left behind, because exploiting workers into independent contractor status, especially by these major large corporations, just doesn't make a lot of sense. And so my most favorite part of the hour is our Teamster Advantage partner that we usually bring on. And we have this is the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, KCAA 106.5 FM 1050 AM. Thanks, Mark, for holding that up and reminding me. We live radio, we got to do this on the fly. And I'll tell you what, like this, I got to claim this rookie status because trying to do live radio is tough. It's not like I can say, hey, pause, can we edit that out? I had a little hiccup here. I misstated. But doing the call letters is an FCC regulation, so we've got to do that. Anyway, thanks for holding that up, Mark. we have a Teamster Advantage partner here. And for those of you that don't know, if this is your first time listening, our Teamster Advantage network is comprised of more than 1,000 small businesses in the Inland Empire and LA and Orange County, primarily the Inland Empire. And we connect to all these small businesses and advertise for them for free to our nearly 100,000 households that we have. And it's our way of making sure that the working class, middle class, everybody is connecting and helping each other out, and because a lot of these small business owners are really getting crowded by the big corporate interests and the big box stores, and it obviously depends on what type of. Say you're a little restaurant owner, you got to compete with these big major chains. If you got other services, you got to compete with like a Walmart or these other big chains, and it's tough. It's tough to be an entrepreneur, and it's tough to be a small business owner. And we want to make sure that the small business community thrives, is robust, and is connected to our membership. And with that, would you like to introduce yourself on our Teamster Advantage partner today?
Sure. So I'm Stephanie Shirsh-Jacoby. I'm the owner of Roundabout Sweets and Treats and Monstro Sub Shop in Yucaipa.
Okay. My favorite thing is a sandwich. I can eat a sandwich every single day.
Oh, well, we got you taken care of.
What's the best sandwich that you guys have?
The best sandwich. Okay, so if you want a cold sandwich, it would be...
Usually, I prefer a cold sandwich.
Okay, it would be the Bride. It
Okay.
has turkey, bacon, mustard, mayo. It depends if you want any chili on it. We do our homemade chili sauce. But yeah, that's probably one of them. If you want a hot one, my brother makes the meatballs. And
a meatball sub or a meatball sandwich?
Yeah, he makes the meatballs and the sauce. So it's really, really good. Yeah, it's so good.
Oh, all freshly made.
Yeah,
it's not brought in a can.
No. It's all
right.
It's made. So then that would be the Bella.
The Bella.
Yeah, the Bella. Yeah, it's so good.
All right. So let's talk about the sweets and what's going on there.
So Roundabout Sweets and Treats, we've had it about 1.5 years now.
Where are you located?
We're located in Yucaipa. So Yucaipa.
My hometown.
Yucaipa and California Street, right on the corner, and then Monstros is right next door. And so we take that whole corner. We do gourmet chocolates. We do gourmet apples.
You can see all that through the window as you're driving.
Yeah.
That's on the roundabout, right?
Yeah, it is. You can see it.
As you go, for some of us, we go around the roundabout. We look in there,
Yeah,
and then we
you go
go
around.
another roundabout, and we go, do we want to stop there? And
Yeah.
then we do another roundabout and go, okay, yeah, we'll pull over.
Right? Yeah, you want a little snack. So we have really big gourmet apples. I make those. It's a homemade vanilla bean caramel apple. We did over 3,500 last year, actually. Yeah.
Oh, my.
Yeah, and it's all homemade.
So do you sell? I assume you sell out of those sometimes.
Yeah, we sell out.
You
all
just
the time.
make them, and then when they're gone, they're gone. You say, see you tomorrow.
So we do Mondays and Thursdays because then
Do you get all your apples from Eau Glen?
Yeah, we get them locally
course
sourced.
you do.
Yeah, got a smart girl.
Yeah.
So yeah, we do. And
This
then,
is why we do the program, because it's
Yeah.
so cyclical,
Yeah.
right? Everything is connected
Yeah,
if you pay
absolutely.
attention. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and then we do gourmet cookies. So I do decorated cookies. We do a lot of cookies too for the holidays.
What's
Yeah.
the best cookie you guys make?
So they're decorated. So it's going to be a vanilla bean sugar cookie. And then they're the fancy ones that you see. That's what I do. So yeah, I can't say there's a favorite. Holidays we sell out every single time. I average between 500 cookies a week during the holidays, starting in October to December.
So this isn't fair. So you go over and you get a sandwich, and
Yeah.
and then you go over to the sweet shop. And so is there,
Yeah.
is there a discount for doing both?
So there isn't. That's a smart thing. There isn't right now. But so you order your sandwich and then you go over and get your snacks. And usually someone will deliver your sandwich next door because they know you're there.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to do you do catering and stuff?
We do.
From the
we do
sandwich
catering.
shop.
Yep. So we're launching our Monstros website right now. We're working on that, but you can call in and we do all the catering.
How big
that you
how
need.
big of units do you do?
Oh, we do as many as you need. So we
1,000?
We can do 1,000.
okay.
We
I was
have
just throwing a
team.
number out there.
There's a team of us. We don't ever say no. That's something my mom taught us. We never say no. There's a team of about 12 of us. So yeah, we just call them in. So if you need a large order,
you call
me,
everybody in.
talk
They
to me.
they descend on the store and bam, start pumping out sandwiches.
Yeah. So you talk to me first. I get it all ready, and then I call the team in and I tell them. So they come on in and do it. Yeah.
What's the biggest order you guys have ever done?
The largest order I think to date right now is probably like 500 sandwiches, but they're the mini ones, but that's still a lot.
Still, whatever.
Because you have different.
Don't matter how big or
sandwiches.
small they are. You count them as one.
Yeah,
Right.
because they do each one. Each one's handmade. So the team has to come in and, they have a list, and we have about 30, 40 sandwiches. So they have to go through and I always tell them lay it out. So I go hots. We wait to the last minute, but yeah, I would say that's about the largest we've done so far.
How's the pastrami?
Oh my God, that's so good.
How about the Reuben?
We don't have a Reuben yet. We do have a pastrami. I know. We're rookies.
What the joke?
I know. We will have one after the show. We will have one.
Yes, you will.
But the pastrami is called the Wolfman. It's really good. We actually have 3 versions of that. We have just regular pastrami. Then we have a spicy and then an extra spicy. So it'll be the Wolfman.
What makes it spicy? Is it a spicy?
We do spicy cheese, spicy mayo, and then the chili. The chili will go on the.
Lots of pickles on it?
Yeah.
All
Yeah, you can, right? Getting you hungry.
Oh, I actually have a lot of people comment on when we do the show, when we have a place that does food, that they go, like sometimes in the show we'll do this really important subject on the back half, and I hear, the barbecue or the sandwich or that treat. I'm like, did you hear that crazy important stuff on the other? No. Oh yeah. But man, I'll tell you, I want to try that. Whatever it was.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you.
Food moves people.
It does. It really does. We have a big following, especially. I mean, people come from all over for Monstrose. It's because it's actually classic monster theme. So it's Frankenstein, the Bride. It's actually dark in there. It's painted that. So people come in all the time for that. Yeah. And then the candy side is bright pink and all of that stuff. And so, yeah. People get a kick out of it.
Well, you got any funny stories?
So I do actually. So on the sugar, because I'm always on the candy side, really. And I'm known as everybody's sugar mama, the approved sugar mama. And so
I'm glad you said that, and not me.
I know, the one that all the wives approve of. And so they know that. And I actually have a little boy that comes in since I've started, and his name's Rory. And so one day he came in and he just goes, "Where's my sugar mama?" And I was just like, "Oh no, baby, no, I'm not your sugar mama." And so that was pretty. And his grandpa took it all in fun. But yeah, it was like, no. And he'll call me every once in a while, like, "Hey, sugar mama," and I'm like, "I'm not your sugar mama."
That's great. It's good to see the small businesses that have a relationship with the community like that,
absolutely.
Right? Because we obviously live there, and we're neighbors and we're friends and all that. It always seems like the chains don't get the same relationship.
They don't. I mean, I have regulars that come in like every Friday, all that stuff, and they actually look for you. I would say the big chains just don't get that. They're just about money. We're not necessarily about that.
You're about the experience, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And we love that. Anytime you come into one of our stores, you're going to feel.
So I take it you do the Halloween. You take Halloween serious if you got the Frankenstein theme.
So believe it or not, we really don't. I mean, we do now.
What?
We do now, but in the beginning.
Do you live in Yucaipa?
Yes. Well, I live in Beaumont now. I used to live in Yucaipa, but yes, we did.
Do you trick or treat in Yucaipa?
Yeah, we do. That's the best.
Where do you go? Do you go up to
Chapman Heights?
You go to Chapman Heights?
You gotta go to Chapman Heights.
We've got a pretty crazy street ourselves. We've got Pirates of the Caribbean Street.
Well, what street is that? I'll go there.
Can't tell you. We get over 1,000 kids. If I say this on the radio and I say exactly where it's at, we're gonna have 2,000, and we'll run out of candy. We actually do run out of candy every night, every Halloween. Well, really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. I got to wrap up this side of the hour, but anything you want to close on? And thank you for what you do for the community. Thank you for building the relationship with the customers, and realizing that we're all in this together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you having me here talking about the stores and stuff like that. But yeah, no.
What's the discount the Teamster Advantage partners get? I forgot that.
We do 10%. Yeah, 10% at both those locations.
That is really good. So I can go get my sandwich at 10% off, and I can go get my sweets at 10% off.
Absolutely.
All right. And
Yeah.
and then I got to go find the drugstore to make sure I brush my teeth so that my teeth don't fall
you
out.
can just go to the liquor store
That's
right there at
over
the corner.
across the street.
There you go. We got you covered. Just go to the liquor store. They have what you need.
All right. Well, thank you for being on. This is the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan. See you on the other side of the hour.
I'm Mark Westwood, General Manager of KCAA. All of us here at KCAA are deeply saddened at the tragic loss of our friends and fellow broadcasters, Alan Borgen and his co-host, Isabel Izzy Bussey, in a terrible highway accident in Missouri this past weekend. Alan was a friend to everyone here at the station, as well as across the Inland Empire region, and Izzy was right alongside him for years. Alan had a passion for food and a passion for life, and it showed.
Welcome to another delicious edition of the Let's Dine Out Show. Food critic Alan Borgen here.
And Izzy Bussey.
And we have a show for you folks. I'm telling you, if you like pizza, you're going to love this show because it's all about pizzas.
Izzy was his co-host in life and on the air and added just the right flavor and perfect seasoning Alan needed for that perfect blend, and together they received great reviews. Alan and Izzy will be missed greatly, and Saturday afternoons at 4 p.m. will never be the same without them. They'll never be the same without Let's Dine Out. But we here at KCAA intend to keep his shows running for everyone to enjoy for some time to come. Alan wrote restaurant reviews for the Sun newspaper, Inland Valley Daily Bulletin, Redlands Daily Facts, and the Inland Empire Business Journal. He also took his reviews to the airwaves at KVCR 91.9, KSBA, KTIA, and right here on KCAA, as well as social media. For years, he co-hosted another popular food show called Table for Two with David Cohen. We here at KCAA extend our condolences to the family, friends, and community who knew and loved Alan Borgen and Isabel Izzy Bussey. We appreciate all the support we've received from the community in the last days. May their souls have a quick, easy, peaceful, and joyous flight to the heavens above. Godspeed, Alan and Izzy. You will be missed. For those who would like to enjoy one more or many more of his shows are all right here on KCAA in podcast form on our website at kcaaradio.com.
Anyway, you're listening to Let's Dine Out Show. We're on every Saturday from 4 to 5 right here on AM 1050, 106.5 FM.
The stations that leave no listener behind.
Here we are live back on the air. It's the Randy Corrigan with the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. Okay, guess what? I have my favorite nurses, other than my members. I got to be careful because I got our members too that are nurses. So if any of my nurses are listening in, I love you more than I love them. But I got my favorite children's hospital nurses. How's that?
Okay.
Is that
we'll
good,
take
Katie?
that.
Okay.
We'll take that.
I got
I'm
Reed,
thin ice
Katie,
though,
and Lisa
Randy.
here.
No.
All right. You're not gonna. She's not gonna elbow me.
Yeah, right.
Right. So we had you on. I think it was May 1st, right? And
Yes.
you've been bargaining your first contract. You've been bargaining a renewal contract
Yes.
since May 1st, May 2nd. You've had some bargaining. We won't necessarily get into some specifics as far as what you're bargaining because we all like to keep those close to the vest while we're bargaining. But I think it's really important for y'all first to introduce yourselves, reintroduce yourself to our listeners, and second, we'll then later get into kind of what the community's doing, what you are doing, what your members are doing, and how that's all going. So let's first start with Katie. Why don't you introduce yourself, how long you've been doing what you're doing, and how important you are?
how important I am. Let me start
You've
there,
got a
Randy.
crazy title, you know. I mean,
She's very important.
She is.
My name is Katie Langenstrass. I'm the executive director of UNOC. I have been the executive director since 2016, but involved in the union since 2011. I am a nurse at Rady Children's Hospital. I've worked on the surgical unit for the past 17 years.
All right, Lisa.
And I'm Lisa D. Guzman. I'm a pediatric intensive care nurse, and I've been at Rady's for 24 years, nursing for almost 39 years. And I've been with the union. I used to be the advocate, which is like a business agent, and then went from there to the nursing director, which I've been there for
Since 2016.
2016, yeah, as the director, nursing director.
My name is Reed Corley. I work as a nurse at Rady Children's as well. I've been there for about 11 years. I work for UNOC as a representative. I represent people in HR, try to get them out if I can. It's not always possible, but try if I can. And then I also have helped with negotiations now. I think it's the third one I've been part of.
So how long you been a nurse?
We're going on 19 years right now.
So unlike my rookie status as a radio host, you guys are definitely not rookies.
No.
No.
Far from it.
We got tons of
We're
experience.
the ones who help the rookies out.
Right. Yeah, and you guys, you know, this is a children's hospital where you're caring for the most vulnerable in our society. And, you know, we really appreciate you coming on the show. Really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story, as well as sharing with us the progress that you're making and the things that either your members are doing or the community's doing. Katie, I don't know if you want to start off, you know.
Yeah. So like you said, you know, we started negotiations with Rady's at the beginning of May. We have given an economic proposal, and we're kind of currently waiting on a counter proposal from them. And while we're waiting, we have just been really trying to gauge the community, engage our membership. You know, community-wise, I kind of touched on it last time. We have signs hanging up in a lot of local businesses around Rady's that our members are going and taking pictures with. They get entered in a raffle if they take a picture. And kind of those businesses are showing our support. We're showing support back to them. You know, I just got a picture the other day from a couple of the restaurants. The owners actually came out when nurses were there taking pictures, and came out and posed in the pictures with them, and kind of shared stories about their interactions with other nurses and having their kids at Rady's. So that's been really, I think, good for the members to see how supported they are.
How the community's so quick to support you.
Yes.
Once we kind of engage that process. And I'm assuming your fellow, you know, your coworkers, your members that are nurses really appreciate seeing that support.
Yeah. And, you know, I don't want to say it's surprising. We know it's there, but I don't feel like we always see it.
It's reassuring.
Yes. And to walk in and just kind of be, you know, people want to say hi to you, or, oh, you're one of the nurses, and want to hear why the sign is up, and, you know, kind of just being able to engage as nurses directly with community members, I think has been really powerful for people to participate in.
Yeah, and y'all just heard from she's actually my peer, and she is a principal officer of Local 1699.
Yes.
And so on top of you being a nurse, you run the local union and obviously represent the members in those that are not just nurses, but in the technical unit as well, right?
Yes, we represent the technical unit as well.
Right now, you're just bargaining with the nurses, correct?
Yes, we have two separate contracts. So the nurses are this year, and then we'll head into tech negotiations after.
So this is a nice little build-up for the tech.
Yes, yes, it is. This definitely is setting the tone for what we'll expect out of the techs as well.
Reed or Lisa, do you want to talk about, you know, other things that the community's doing? Maybe elected leaders are showing support for you?
But we're getting some letters sent out, or requesting letters from local leaders to help support our needs and in getting a good contract this year. I feel like there's a lot of heartfelt coming from the leaders.
Yeah, you know, when we challenge them, a lot of times they will step up to the plate. And then obviously we get to clearly see where they stand with working people, right? You know, sometimes it's a lot of talk, but then when you ask them to actually, develop a letter, put something in writing, and explain their support, so that goes to the leadership at the hospital. It really separates who's really supportive and who's not, regardless of whether they're a Democrat or Republican or independent.
Right.
Reed, did you want anything to add to that?
No, just that we still have several things pending and we're looking forward to releasing soon. I know that we've reached out several and we're just awaiting some of those responses, and they will be coming out soon.
Good. What are the other activities or actions you guys are doing on the job? And remember, we asked for some funny stories too last time, and you guys were having a hard time trying to keep them clean.
I feel between clean and HIPAA violations, we're boxed into a corner.
Very difficult.
You can say the story, you just can't say who, right?
Well, I know, but the clean part's maybe harder. Yeah. I don't want Reed with me in HR.
And then there's that weird nurse humor.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a little darker.
Try us out, man. You got to remember, we got 2,000 members at a hospital. I'm sure they'll all appreciate your humor. It's a little different, but hey, nothing wrong with that. It's specific to your industry.
I don't necessarily know it's funny, but we get, especially around the 4th of July, a lot of times we get kids in with firework injuries, and if they have a finger that's severely injured, we'll use leeches sometimes to increase circulation.
So they still actually do
they
that?
still use leeches.
Therapy we use all the time.
Leech therapy.
Yep.
And it's my favorite thing. I've gone down to the pharmacy. I help pick out which leech we're going to use.
So you can get leeches from the pharmacy?
You can get, they're very
I did not know
expensive.
that.
And they are kind of, bred, but they're kept in very sterile tanks. So you go down, you pick up your leech.
What are you talking about? If this is the South, we could just go back out to the river, reach in the mud,
Sterile,
and pull
Randy.
like 10 of them
They
out.
need to be sterile.
Oh, no, I can't do that.
And then you kind of poke the kid's injury if it's not actively bleeding, and you attach the leech. And
what is the kid's response?
The kids usually think it's hilarious. We name them sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the kids are usually fine.
Give me
it's
a
the
good
parents.
name of a leech.
What's the last? I feel like I had a Fido one time. The kid was trying to be funny. Yeah, name
So do
him
you
after
let the
dog.
kid name it?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, to try to get them engaged. So now part of the protocol is we have to stand in there while the leech is sucking so it doesn't get lost. But before that was part of the protocol, I was on.
How would the leech get lost?
It
They fall
unattaches itself and
And they
crawls
would take
away.
off.
Yeah.
Or the kid would take it off and.
No.
Yeah, the kids don't usually want to touch them.
Once they're full, they
Yeah.
detach
They just fall off.
And so when the leech, before we started watching them, I had a family one time where the leech fell off, and the mom starts screaming hysterically and runs out of the room. And then I go in the room, and the leech was just crawling on the floor, leaving a blood trail. And then since then we make the joke that the leeches are going to take over one night, and it's the day shift would come in and it'd just be Leech City. But
Before we get to Rick, I think Rick says he's got a good nurse joke here in a second. You guys have a funny you want to share? We'll just go live.
I do have a funny, but it's more with nurses.
Okay, let's see.
Let's go.
Let's see yours first, Lisa.
So we were there was a new nurse in the hospital. We were training her, and we all went to the morgue. Preceptor, I was in charge, and went to the morgue with this new nurse. So one of the nurses went into the vault that you usually.
We got it. We got it. You're killing me. I'm trying to find the humor in
Yeah,
this.
so it is funny. So we were in there. We all go into the room, and
Just so you know, we actually had a Teamster Advantage partner from a mortuary in here a couple weeks ago. So
tie it together.
Yes,
Yeah.
crazy how this all ties together.
So we told the new nurse, we said, go ahead, open up one of the vaults, see what they look like inside. And she goes to open it up, and the nurse inside laying down goes, boo!
Oh,
And-
my goodness.
Yeah, and so
You guys pulled a
it was
funny.
really funny. And so one of the nurses that was there watching, she just had a baby. She peed her pants, and yeah,
see.
we don't.
You guys all think this is funny.
It was pretty funny.
Do you all watch scary movies?
Yes,
I do, yes.
No.
No? Okay, I'm with Reed on this. I don't watch scary movies. I hide behind something and go. I don't want to be startled. I'll end up punching something or something.
and this is night shift, at 3 a.m.
Oh my God, that's not even, you guys are bad. All right, Rick, we want to hear your joke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Randy, did you hear about the nurse who died and went straight to hell?
No.
It took her 2 weeks to realize that she wasn't at work anymore.
Oh, I like that.
Not
Fitting.
far from the
That's a
truth.
good joke.
Not far.
That's creative.
We're going to use that at the table.
Yeah, right. Use that in bargaining.
It's yours to steal.
You got one.
Thank you.
And you heard it here first. Live on the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, 106.5 FM, 1050 AM. And just in case I forgot, KCAA. All right. So, Reed, did you have a funny story?
No, I'm going to let
Come on.
sit out on
All
this.
these years, you got to have something funny.
Most of my things that come up are with colleagues, just pulling practical jokes, telling people they're going to get a heavy admit and someone comes in, it doesn't need anything at all. This is not uncommon. We do these practical jokes on each other. The doctors pull one on nurses pull one on doctors. This is like the nature of building a relationship with each other. Every day that I work, I do things that are comical that I may or may not admit to.
Yes.
And so, it's
he
like a
looks at the
daily
camera.
process.
We'll make sure that Radies doesn't pull the video and
Exactly.
use it against you.
I'm not trying to represent myself in HR.
We'll call this protected concerted
I'll represent
activity.
you.
Yeah, okay. Hey, I appreciate that, Lisa. We got to both have a good track record of representing people in HR. We're good.
So, jump subjects. How's your action committee going? How's the action team doing?
So we did gather lots and lots of signatures. We put them all together. It gave us an opportunity to talk to employees on a direct one-on-one what our goal was with that.
And
about
start
meeting
to
with
educate and explain
Exactly.
and engage the
and
specifics.
then knowing there are so many areas that people they have theories about how a contract works. They have theory about how negotiations, and be able to clear that up and have one-on-one conversations with people to be able to say, here's what our actual goals are. Here's what we're trying to do as a collective. Not this is one area, not just one person, but as a whole, what we're trying to get. That was a big opportunity for us to go from unit to unit, nurse to nurse, and even like engage people who are not nurses and tell them what our goals were so that they know what's coming for the technical division, so that they know what we're trying to do as a whole. So getting to talk to doctors, to some of our EVS employees, our secretaries, as well as lots and lots of nurses. And where it sits now, I'll leave to Katie. Yeah.
So we collected the signatures. We sent them off to the CEO asking for a meeting with the board of directors so our members would have some direct access. And the hospital has shockingly turned that down.
No.
Yes. They believe, which is true, we are both bargaining in good faith, and that they didn't feel there needed to be any extra attention given, I guess, to the individual nurses, which, I mean, really, I don't think anybody in this business is shocked by their response, but I do think this is the key to why we are where we are in these rough negotiations, is because the hospital shows over and over again that they don't want to listen to the direct patient care staff, whether that be the techs or the nurses. The nurses feel unheard, they feel unseen, and they really thought this would be an opportunity to not negotiate with them, but just tell their stories.
Right, just listen.
And explain where they're sitting, how this economy feels to them, how the staffing feels to them. And it's just, I think, really disappointing that the hospital didn't see it that way and didn't give it as much importance as we feel like it deserves. So we have some stuff coming up to kind of counteract that.
We never show our hand ahead of time.
Right. So we have some things that maybe will convince them to listen. But
and I think, as you pointed out, you didn't expect them to.
Yes.
You kind of predicted that they would snub the situation.
Yes.
But it's a good process to be able to identify, number one, that for the most part there's a lot of solidarity among the group.
Absolutely.
Yes, 100%.
And then like you had said, it gives you the opportunity to start to engage and talk about specific issues that are important, because as you're bargaining a contract, half the work goes into everything before you even start bargaining, before you even sit down. As I don't need to tell you, you are all on the bargaining committee, you know that. But a lot of times what we want to do with this radio show is a lot of times for your listeners for your members to understand maybe some of the groundwork of doing the survey, extracting that information, recognizing over the last few years the challenges in which the hospital has created, and you've been unable to maybe solve those. Maybe there wasn't contractual language to perfectly protect it, and so they went, oh, it's not in the contract, I don't know what to tell you. And this now gives you the opportunity to extract all that information from everybody. Is there some specific stuff you want to get into as far as what you've learned from the group? I know what I learned was it was a reminder again how even as a nurse, affordable health care is not a priority to a hospital. You work at the hospital.
Yes.
everybody who works at that hospital should have affordable health care, period.
We agree.
Yep.
And you don't have
100%.
affordable health care, is that
No,
correct?
not at all. No. So real commonly what happens with the hospital system is employees will get free or next to nothing costs. We're paying very high premiums. I think we looked at it was like 33% increase is what we're talking about. We're talking about paying much more out of pocket than some of our patients are paying. Doesn't seem fair whatsoever.
Yeah, you work in a hospital.
Yes.
It's kind of like working at a bakery and
Not getting any cake.
well, no, not just getting cake,
Yeah.
but if you buy the cake, you have to pay 33%
3%
more.
more,
for the
that's
cake.
true, yeah.
You work there, and I got to pay more for my cake than somebody comes in and buys the cake.
There's definitely an inequality going on there.
Yeah.
Zero doubts.
And what's crazy is if I remember correctly, your hospital has what we call the self-insured system, where they're actually their own provider and they have their own kind of healthcare system where they're kind of making money on you. Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah. That's kind of what they're doing indirectly. They're making money off the back end of us. So, and I think it's really frustrating for all the members, but especially the members with kids. Like, we understand there aren't adult doctors at Rady's. I don't think there's any reason our healthcare has to be this expensive, but we do understand we're different than Sharp. But the fact that the members can't even bring their kids to Rady's and get discounted care, or the hospital won't eat the cost of the deductible, is just mind-blowing to most.
That's like a second layer of mind-blowing. The first layer of mind-blowing is you work at a hospital and you don't have affordable health care. Then the second layer is if you try to utilize the very services in which you're providing, you don't even get a discount. Like, that's...
It's frustrating.
It's just
it
doesn't make any sense.
To see coworkers having to start GoFundMe for their kids. Should not be this way.
That's crazy. So I'm assuming clearly this is something that came out in the surveys when you were...
Yes, the healthcare definitely came out in the surveys. Retiree healthcare as well, which we're also working on, but kind of the whole retirement healthcare bundle is always big, and I think getting bigger each year we go into it.
I've tried to redefine, at least in my narrative, affordable healthcare as not just when you work, but if you work 20, 30, 40 years for an employer, affordable healthcare should take you all the way up until you meet the guy from the mortuary.
We agree.
Until you get in the morgue, like you talked about there. Somebody jumps out and, boo. Anyway, the point is affordable healthcare should take you all the way to death. And that this narrative that corporate America created that shifts that burden so heavily on workers out of their pocket, which is, in my opinion, it's their obligation. As an employer, it's their obligation. Why aren't they providing healthcare? If we're not going to have universal healthcare, okay, fine. Then the next rung of that should be the employer is required to provide healthcare, and then you're working in the healthcare industry on top of it.
Yes,
and it's not, and there's this huge gap there. So without getting into the details, I'm assuming you've got a lot of proposals in that space. What are some of the other areas that you feel the members, other than wages, everybody always wants to make more money? What are some of the other areas that those that you're going to share the show with might find is new, because it came out in your survey, but not everybody's aware that these are issues that surfaced while you were talking to your members?
I think a big thing that we're hearing come up over and over is a preceptor differential. A lot of the members want to be paid extra to train new nurses.
Can you explain a preceptor?
Yes. So a preceptor is who a nurse is teamed up with and kind of shadows for their first so many months or weeks, depending on how much experience they have when they start working. Rady's has a retention problem, so we are constantly precepting and training new nurses. And
so you're training Sharps nurses?
Basically, yeah. We train, and then they eventually leave quickly. So that constant in and out is just exhausting for people. It's a lot. You kind of have to be on your A+ game when you're precepting. You have to be able to explain and justify everything you're doing, making sure you're explaining and teaching in a way that your orientee understands. And we just do it so much that people are burning out and starting to want to refuse to do it. They feel bullied into doing it. So that was something we heard over and over. Other hospitals pay for it. Why doesn't Rady's, especially with the retention problem, that this is this isn't once a year we're doing it. We're orienting new grads, new hires, travelers, even the travelers that come in that are making more than us, we train them before they make more than us.
Isn't it crazy that these employers, in your case specifically, a children's hospital, is okay with turnover? That is baffling.
Yeah, they rely a lot on travelers too.
But they're not connected.
They support the travelers a lot, pay wise,
because they don't have to pay their benefits and all the other stuff.
Yeah,
it's a short term.
It's short term.
And it's just not the safest way to give patient care. All of this turnover,
very bad.
Over and over.
Yeah, y'all chimed in at the same time. I think.
Yeah. I mean, there's been times where, like one of our particular units we've had, it's our CV unit, cardiovascular. They've had 14 travelers on and like 4 core people. Extremely dangerous.
Yeah, that's
honestly.
That is. It's just hard to digest. Children at a hospital seeking care. And there's this high turnover, people that are not connected. What is going on in corporate America where, or those running hospitals, in this case, those running hospitals, that are not priding themselves on, come to work for us, you stay with us your entire career, you can retire at this age, instead of having this contingent workforce set up to where there's a high turnover, transitional environment. It just... like, where did they go to school? Like, where did they learn this stuff other than thinking it's going to be better to count the beans at the end as far as the dollars and cents are concerned? But the value of lives, especially children's lives, obviously every life is important. When you get into children's lives who are even more vulnerable, them taking an approach like that is borderline disgusting.
We agree.
Well, and then taking that approach while, toting that you're in U.S. News and World's top 10 children's hospital, that you're a magnet hospital. So kind of running us like this.
So they did get the magnet status.
Yes,
Okay.
They've gotten it.
Can you explain that to everybody that's listening? What magnet status is?
Not really. To be perfectly honest.
It's a higher...
It's some sort of accreditation they get that's supposed to mean they're a good place to work and have shared leadership with their employees.
Lots of certifications.
Yeah.
Yes,
which they won't pay for, but they want them.
But they're toting these things to the community. We're the ones enabling them to get them. And then this is what we're getting on the back end of it. I feel like that's what the members find very frustrating.
Unaffordable healthcare.
Yeah, unaffordable healthcare for a top 10 rated children's hospital.
Correct. Like, the equal sign there does not balance.
No.
Like it should be a less than.
Yeah.
Right.
Negative.
What else do you guys want to add as far as things maybe? I found in bargaining that a lot of times things kind of come out of nowhere, issues sometimes that surface while you're going through the process that you're like, oh, we didn't see that as big of a priority or as common among everybody. But we're going to tackle it this time. Sure. Anything else that comes to mind in those scenarios?
One thing that we've known for a little while, but has become more and more clear, is this use of on-call is just killing nurses.
The abuse.
People being on call over and over and over for less than minimum wage. Like, we're all very professional nurses, and to be on call for a company for less than minimum wage just makes no sense.
Because you can't even have a beer when you're on call
at all.
No,
can't
nothing
leave my
fun.
Home,
no, nothing fun at all.
Have an hour to get in, and then some of our coworkers have to be there in less than 30 minutes, and just to have this pressure and not be compensated for it, that is becoming very clear.
Our neighboring hospitals are all paying more than we are for call,
and again, it pushes them into that high turnover, travelers,
burnout.
Yeah, right. And again, them depending on a contingent workforce, overworking a workforce that you currently have.
Sure.
Like, pay a little bit more, have the best benefits, and say, come to work here. You will stay here forever. You want to retire here because you can retire at a decent age. You'll have health care when you retire, and you'll be able to enjoy those final years in comfort and not be concerned with that outcome of being forced into poverty or a negative situation because of benefits beyond retirement.
Yeah. Well, and Rady's kind of has had this little mantra, I guess, at least the whole time I've been there, is we're on this journey to excellence. We're striving to excellence in patient care, which is great. But I think what the staff is saying right now is we need to be cared for excellently too. Like, this isn't just about the patients. Like, if you want us to give excellent patient care, you've got to take care of us. And I just think that's where everybody's at right now.
Well said.
Yeah. So we got 2.5 minutes left on our show. Maybe give each of you a quick minute, or actually a quick 30 seconds on something you might want to say closing out. Really, first of all, we really appreciate the work that you do. The work that you do is very, very precious, and it's very important for the community, and you probably don't hear enough appreciation from your employer. So we'll say thank you.
Appreciate
With that,
Thank you, Randy.
Is there anything you want to say? Each of us, start with you, Reed.
Sure. What I want to say is people who work there love working there.
That's correct.
We're not there because we know we could be doing better somewhere else. If we took a contract like these travelers, if we went across town to Kaiser, to different places, we love working there. We just want to be fairly compensated. That's really not a big ask. It's really not.
No, it's not a big ask at all.
Yeah, and if and we want to just continue to ask for community support, especially if we're having any issues with the hospital at the table. Don't want to say the S word, but
it's being said.
the members are whispering it, so hopefully we won't have to go there.
Well, Randy, I think they should name that Reuben sandwich after you. Randy's Reuben.
Interesting.
Randy's Reuben. I like that.
I like that. That's a nice
Right?
little ring. Thank you.
I'm thinking about those cookies.
See, once again, the food overrides this important role you do. I got 60 seconds. Thanks for coming on. I really appreciate you guys coming on. Please share the show. Obviously, I think your members will really enjoy. Hopefully, you feel like you got a lot out of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what we're doing here on this live radio show is building worker power. And this is what can you do to build worker power? Talk to your family, talk to your friends, talk to your neighbor. It's longtime organizer, first time radio host, Randy Corrigan, the Worker Power Hour, signing off. See you next time.